So Azure Solutions Architect Expert Level is a advanced level certification from Microsoft on public cloud Azure, right? So we have got two layers, right? The fundamental one, which is mainly for the beginners to IT or beginners to cloud, especially, and you get a knowledge around the Azure service model or the cloud service model, cloud services, and you also get to understand how the cloud could be managed and deployed. So those are the stuff that we get to understand in the fundamental, and then associate level is where you get to understand, you get hands-on experience on how to deploy, administer, and manage certain services and roles, right? So we have got Azure Administrator certification, which is where we happened to connect earlier in November, December timeframe, which is Microsoft Azure 104 certification exam related discussion, where we had a lot of hands-on discussions, and we try to implement certain things. So this is a expert level certification. So Microsoft tend to add more certifications over the period. So for example, when we talk about Microsoft Azure, we used to have only 4 or 5 certifications 6, 7 years back, but now we have more than 15 to 20 certification just on Microsoft Azure across different products and services. So this particular course will be focusing on expert level certification on Microsoft Azure Solutions Architect. There are predominantly two expert level certification that Microsoft Azure has got. One is on Solution Architect, where we help the customers get the proper design in a secure, scalable, and highly available aspect, right? That's what we tend to provide as a solutions architect. And we also have a DevOps engineer certification on the expert level from Microsoft Azure. So we have got 3 levels of certification from Microsoft: fundamental, associate, and expert. And we are here to discuss on the expert level certification from Microsoft Azure Solutions Architect. And we have one more parallel certification for the engineering team or the DevOps engineers who can pursue Azure DevOps engineer course. So those are the two different expert level certifications. So the Microsoft course has been numbered for their certification in such a way, like 100 series for administration, 200 for developers, and 300 for architects, 400 for DevOps, 500 for security. And if you are interested, you can also pursue 700 series, which is for network engineer. We also have other parallel track for data engineers and data scientists and so on. So those are also certain associate level certifications which you can try to appear for, so that way you get broader understanding on what are the different products and services that Microsoft Azure offers. So there are various track. Okay, so there is no mandatory certification to start with. All the intermediate level certifications or the basic fundamental certifications are optional to start with. And if you want to get Azure Virtual Desktop, you can directly appear for the specialty certification. And if you want to get IoT developer certification, so these are all specialty certifications that are there, like AI, IoT, machine learning, Azure Virtual Desktop, and so on. So there are many specialty level certifications that are there. You can directly appear for them. But for the expert level certification, even though the fundamental is not a mandatory one, you can definitely take it to have a solid foundations. And the associate level is kind of mandatory, I would say. At least one of the associate level certification, like the developer certification, or the AZ104 is a kind of mandatory one. So you can either choose one of the track before you take any of the expert level certification, right? So that's how you can achieve the expert level certification. But the exam, you can go and take it directly. There is no mandatory stuff that you have to appear one of the exam from the associate and then take the expert. It is not mandatory. But if you want to get the logo or the certificate that you are an expert, you have to have at least one associate level. So the fundamental one is never expiring certification. So you won't, it won't get expired and then the other certifications like the expert and the associate specialty, you have to renew them. So for expert especially, it is valid for 1 year, and every year what you can do is there is an option in Microsoft Learn where you can go and take an online assessment. It is not a proctored one, but the main exam that you are taking for the first time is a proctored one. You have to appear, sit for the exam, and then you have to complete through the online or through the exam centers nearby you. But the renewal examination is just a kind of open book exam, which you can take it for renewal. So I'll give you more details around that shortly. But for this particular Microsoft Azure Solutions Architect expert level certification, there are four different design areas where the skills will be measured from us, right? So for every Microsoft exam, 700 is the passing score out of the total maximum 1000 that you can score on these exams. And the very first area is around the identity, governance, and monitoring and logging solution, where you will get around 25 to 30% of the questions from. Whereas the maximum question is from the infrastructure area, where the compute, networking, application related designing will be the maximum portion that you will get questions from. And data storage, of course, both relational as well as non-relational category of storage solutions will be tested. So that will be around 20 to 25% of the questions will be coming from this area. Whereas for the backup, disaster recovery, business continuity, you will get around 15 to 20% of the questions from. So AZ 305, 305, 305 is the exam code for the particular expert level certification. And this is mainly for the people who already have a subject matter expertise on the basics of cloud as well as the hybrid solutioning. So you need to have a strong understanding on these five different pillars of IT, right? From your data center or from general information technology. So these are the core pillars, right? Compute, network, data, monitoring, and the security. So this is mainly for the people who are dealing with the customers' business requirements, business challenges. So where you understand what they have as a challenge, and you help them with implementing the right technologies, the right set of tool sets, solutions, and so on. So converting the business requirement into the technology solution is what the solutions architects are meant for. And you have to expand. Maybe like some of you might come from different background like database, or maybe you might be coming from virtualization background or data center experience. But in cloud, you need to cover a wide range, like breadth and depth of what the customers can handle, right? So these are all public cloud environment where Microsoft as a service provider, they are managing the physical data center, the surveillance system, the infrastructure, the underlying components are being managed by them. And as a customer, we can utilize the products and services that they offer with control to us, where you can implement the right level of tool sets for security and whatever governance. You can choose, we can choose the right tools and right products and services. And that's where you need to understand which are the tool sets that you can use for the customer business requirement, right? So from our side, like we are primarily responsible for creating the design, high level design or low level design based on the situation, and provide them with the detailed implementation guide, which will be useful for the implementation team to get it implemented. So yeah, certification wise, it is mainly to get more attraction from the job aspects. Like see, when you are having a kind of certification on your name, it helps to get shortlisted in the interviews or whatever the shortlisting. But like this exam gives you a in-depth understanding of the different roles and responsibilities that you're going to perform as an Azure Solutions Architect. Either you take the exam or not, this particular curriculum is going to help you with getting a better understanding on how you can do a solutioning using Azure products and services. So you get a lot of benefits, and of course, the primary benefit is to translate the customer need, the business need, and you get them implemented as a technology solution, and which is of course secure, scalable, and reliable for the customer. And there is a lot of increasing need for Azure solutions architect over the last 5 years, especially last 5 years, but they are into the market for the last 15 years. They started their journey way back in 2009, 2010 into Azure offering. But then in the last 5 years, there has been a considerable increase in market share over each and every quarter. And of course, like you need to have a strong fundamental background, IT background, to help customers understand what they have as a problem and then convert that into a technical or technology solutions. Of course, it is a higher job level and you will get associated benefits when you take this Azure Solutions Architect expertise. As I told you, these certifications have a validity of 1 year, and afterwards, like, you have to take a free online assessment through Microsoft Learn, and you can get that renewed. It is an open book exam after the first year, right? The very first year you have to go and appear for the exam through registered online centers, or through the classroom, through the physical examination centers, and you have multiple languages.
Stan, sorry, can you please hide this pop-up for the team sharing? The pop-up for the team. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. So overall, so this is what is going to be the agenda for the next 8 days. So we are planning to have our session split into 8 days of session. The day one today, we are going to discuss on Azure governance, and we are going to discuss how we can implement understanding a case study for a particular example customer, and then we will also have some understanding on sample questions. Of course, we need to have a better understanding of well-architected framework that Microsoft has provided. Not just Microsoft, even Amazon, Google, they have their own well-architected tools through which you can go and do the assessment for the customer and get the outcome out of it. And day two will be more focusing on identity and access management. Day three will be on compute migration. Day four will be on network. Day 5 will be on storage and non-relational storage related services and migration on the data side. Database on day 6. Day 7 will be app and serverless monitoring and logging. Day 8 will be business continuity, DR, and backup, and so on. See, for each of the days, we will have a case study where you will get to understand what customer has as a requirement, and we need to kind of come up with a solution for each of these case studies. So unlike the associate level where we need to go and do certain things, here as a solutions architect, we need to kind of understand the business requirement and we need to convert that into a technical documentation or a technical diagram. So these are the 8 different case studies that we are going to have on each of the days starting today. So governance related case study we will have, and we will have the listed case studies on each of the days. Like tomorrow we will have authentication and authorization related case study, compute, network, non-relational storage, relational database, app architecture solution. Finally, we'll have a logging and monitoring solution related case study. So this is what we have as a syllabus to discuss over the next 8 days. Any questions before we start into the day one?